Hello Substreamers and welcome back to Substream News. Let's jump straight into the first story. By now, I'm absolutely sure you've seen the news about Luigi Mangione, the guy who killed the CEO of United Healthcare, one of America's biggest, if not the biggest, health insurance company. He gunned him down in broad daylight with 3 bullets that had engraved "Deny, Defend, Depose." That was in reference to the fact that this health insurance company has a pretty bad reputation for actually paying out health insurance claims. Now, there's a manifesto. It claims that he felt he had to kill this guy. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but what I do want to get into is the response from social media that's celebrating this guy. Now, I'm not going to take a position. I think it's crazy that they're celebrating a killer, but I can also understand how people hate insurance companies, especially in the US. It's such a bizarre system. I've seen on Etsy and other online stores merch popping up. Now you can see some on the screen. Let me make a space here. Yes, I've seen hoodies, t-shirts, hats saying things like "Deny, Defend, Depose." I've seen a 3-bullet keychain with those words on, which was, let's be honest, it goes pretty hard. And all sorts of different stuff. Now, people on social media during the chase, when they're actually looking for the guy before he'd been identified, were saying, "Don't snitch on this guy. He's a hero." And that is a crazy take, but you might have your own opinions on it. I'm just gonna say this is a wild social media story. Have you ever seen an assassination received in this way? Bizarre. Anyway, let's move on to the next story. I'm Joseph, your presenter, and if you're not subscribed already, why not? Come on. Let's go. Let's move on. Actually, when I first started researching this story, they hadn't caught him yet, they hadn't identified him yet. But now, of course, we know he is Luigi Mangione. He's 26 and he had a spinal surgery that left him with a kind of debilitating injury, and that he couldn't live the normal life that he had before. And they believe that's what turned him against the system. Now, they're calling him the Adjuster, or the Claims Adjuster. He has a moniker, which is pretty badass, let's be honest. But he believes that, and many people believe that, to make real change in this world, you have to do something extreme. You may or may not agree, but if it takes an assassination to reform a corrupt company, that may be the future we're heading towards. Americans really hate their healthcare. The average 4-person family costs $2,000 per month to insure. That is insane. That is the average European salary. That is more than rent in many cities. It's just completely crazy. And many people are saying that now this is a watershed moment for the healthcare industry. But the healthcare companies, instead of announcing that they'll be making changes to support their people better, they're just increasing security for their C-level employees. When will we learn? On top of increasing security for their CEOs, COOs, and the like, they've also moved all meetings online and are telling people not to come to the office. In fact, they're closing many of their offices temporarily because there's a real fear of copycat killings. The reason being, this assassination was celebrated, of course, as we've covered, and they're scared that other people will want to be heroes. Who knows? Less killing would be good. Now, I saw one comment that said, "Who is Luigi Mangione to decide who gets to live or die? The real entity that gets to decide who lives or dies is not God, but an AI algorithm designed by health insurance companies." So that's how Americans feel about this. Anyway, let's move on to a totally different story. Red light therapy. Now, about 15 years ago, I was a student at university, and I walked into my roommate's room and he was sat in front of a red lamp. His lamp had a red bulb in it, and he claimed that it had all these miraculous health benefits. I, of course, thought he was a bit kooky, let's say. I also thought he was a bit stoned. Perhaps he was. Probably was, knowing him. Now, there is actually some merit to it, and doctors say, yeah, red light therapy can help. It can help with wrinkles, acne, wound healing, pain management, and cancer care. Now, is it legit? Well, here's how it works. LED light directs at the skin and it triggers a process called, and it's a long word, photobiomodulation, a non-invasive way to stimulate certain cells that rejuvenate skin. Doctors say it's completely safe unless you have a photosensitizing condition like lupus or melasma. So if you do have them, don't try this. Who actually came up with the idea for red light therapy? Apparently, NASA, which is interesting. Now, what's the issue with all of this? There isn't really one, except that like retail or commercially bought red light lamps are not really strong enough to have much effect. So if you do want to do red light therapy, you need to go to a proper red light therapy clinic, and they claim that they can help your skin, but they also say they will do blue light therapy. Interestingly, is much better at killing the bacteria that causes acne. Now, be careful before you go and waste a load of money on red light therapy because your friend says that it's keeping them young and rejuvenated. It might not be true. If they're doing it at home, they might just have good skin. Anyway, this is for you to decide and do further research. And if you want to do further research, as always, we share all of the links to our sources in the video description. So go have a look. And while you're down there, click subscribe. Let's move on to the next story. Now, as you probably noticed in my videos, I am quite covered in tattoos. I like the art form, and they all have some kind of symbolic or, some kind of meaning to me, right? As they should. They're either art or meaning or whatever. But my tattoos don't have any cool secondary functions, unlike the topic of this next story. Scientists have created a temporary tattoo for the scalp that allows your brain signals to be read much easier. It's for brain monitoring, and they measure brain waves in a quicker and more convenient way, which helps monitor brain activity and diagnose a series of neurological conditions like seizures, epilepsy, and tumors. Now, scientists have developed this technology to help EEG tests. Usually they'd put electrodes, and first they'd have to mark your head with rulers and pencils and glue these electrodes to your scalp. And the glue they use would just go straight on your hair, and it's really hard to get out of your hair. And yeah, it's kind of an annoying process. For anyone who's been through that, they'll know what I mean. Sometimes they can put a cap on your head over your hair to help place it, but this new method is much cooler, much more innovative, much more helpful. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what if I've got really long hair? I can't really have a scalp tattoo, can I? Well, they've actually tested this on people with short hair only. So if you have short hair or a bald head, absolutely fine. Long hair is still not quite sure. Now, they're calling e-tattoos. They stay on your head for about a day or 24 hours, which is good because EEG efficacy is just about 6 hours with the current process. So this is good if they need to do longer brain monitoring. So I think this is a really cool innovation that I wanted to share with you. I think medical innovation is really interesting, and I hope you do too. But that's enough for now. If you want to read more, again, link in the description. Let's move on. Another major breakthrough in science this time, but it's not about brain monitoring. It's about weather forecasting. Now, interestingly, Google's DeepMind AI project has developed a tool, or the developers have developed a tool that offers superior weather prediction, and it's going to completely change the way we look at weather forecasts. It's called GenCast, that's the name of the tool, and it's best at predicting extreme weather, and it outperforms all of the existing tools, and that could be like tropical storms, extreme winds, gusts across large plains, things like that. Now, traditional weather forecasting systems use ENS, which is from the European Centre for Medium Range Weather Forecasts, and they actually do this. I didn't know this, you might not either. They predict weather by solving physics equations, which I think is quite interesting. This new method is a different way of doing it. Now, I have a quote here from Elan Price. He's a senior research scientist at Google's DeepMind, and he said, "One limitation of these traditional models is that the equations they solve are only approximations of the atmospheric dynamics." Very technical. I'm sure he's right. But that's interesting. It could be the case that in future our weather predictions are much more accurate. So good job, Google. Let's move on. Coffee lovers, this one's for you. I am a massive coffee addict. I am in cafes all the time, and I even have a cafe in my apartment that I built, a micro cafe, just for me and my caffeine addiction. Now, if you are a real coffee lover, you probably don't drink at Starbucks, because let's be honest, it's kind of garbage. It's commercial coffee. But if you do love Starbucks and you're not that fussy about the quality of your coffee, you'll be pleased to know that Brian Niccol, the CEO of Starbucks, the current CEO, plans to make the process of making a coffee in Starbucks much quicker. Now, he's going to do that through a few different ways, which will be writing names on cups with Sharpies, which is what they used to do and changed, returning the condiment stand, which they used to have and took away, and allowing people to customize their drinks how they want them. So I guess the responsibility for sugar and creamer and things like that will fall back on the customer to remix their coffee as they like it. Now, his quote is, "You're going to have an experience where you walk in and interact with the barista. It's going to be really quick for that brewed cup of coffee. My hope is we can get you a brewed cup of coffee in less than 30 seconds. 30 seconds from ordering to delivery is super quick. I doubt they could really deliver that, but let's wait and see. If you feel that Starbucks is getting quicker, let me know, because you won't catch me there. I like to support independent local baristas, roasters, and cafes. Anyway, good luck to Starbucks on their venture making the process quicker. Guys, that's all for today. That was my lighter note. That was my nice final story to end on. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Joseph, your presenter. This is Substream News. Hey, the subscriber numbers have been ticking up, and we're getting much closer to the magic 500 number, where we can access all sorts of new YouTube features. So if you're not subscribed and you like this content, you like seeing me sweating on a rooftop or in a park somewhere, click subscribe, because we put out videos 2 times a week, and we're really grateful for every view. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.